both like him, and going to be seen here, FJ.
I'll give you a little bit of insight here, Breaky. And this is just between you and me and the Honkas viewers that we now have.
Okay.
Like a couple of months ago, maybe a month ago, I told Wasa that we should nerf Ravenor. And he was like, yeah, maybe, I don't know, not entirely sure. And then I said, well, we'll do this, or I'll suggest that we do this. And then we decided to nerf his maximum amount of power overwhelming charges, which we did, but we didn't nerf it entirely as much as I wanted him to. So now I feel like he's a little bit still on the strong side, but we're getting there. I feel like Ravenor is at his right place now. Like, he can't easily be shut down. And one of the things that Insania keeps pointing out is that if you decide to lock some of the jungle camps, then he'll lose stacks very quickly because he won't be able to cycle his stacks.
Yeah,
is what I'm trying to say. And actually, Team SolC is having to go ahead and pick up Prisoner, which is a really strong pickup against Ravenor. I really like that choice.
Why would you say that?
Obviously not jump. Because he's like, Ravenor is a hero that relies a lot on just rampaging through team fights. He relies a lot on movement speed and jumping around, whereas Prisoner has his movement impairing effects, as well as his what's it called? It's called the old ball and chain, and then the shaggle, obviously.
Yeah.
So it's a very strong pick against Ravenor.
Okay.
I really like it in that matter.
All right, and Swiftblade also coming out with the final pick on the other for team. Now that's kind of interesting because Prisoner also tends to be pretty good against a hero like Swiftblade because of all the physical presence that he brings to the table. So, picking him up into a Prisoner, definitely intriguing to say the least, but perhaps just too powerful of a hero to pass up for the side of team. What is your take on that?
Well, yeah, Swiftblade is one of those heroes that always work, it feels like. But when you see a team like SolC being against you, then I don't know. I'm not entirely convinced about this Who draft here. This is completely just my biased opinion, I guess, because I have been beaten by SolC, the Solera Club, so many times in TMM, in tournament games, and so on. But I know they're very, very good, and also, obviously, a lot of good players on Team Who. But I want to say that when you have a hero like Prisoner who's very good at dealing with pushing heroes such as Ophelia, for instance, when you have to push, then you have the Prisoner lining up for like sort of a curveball ball and chain, which kind of eliminates the hook, and also you have the ball and chain, the shackle, which also works through Swiftblade spin. And I don't know, like you have the Warbeast, which can obviously spawn throughout Swiftblade's ultimate, and even Warbeast can actually auto attack through the Swiftblade spin. I don't know, like everything about this Who lineup doesn't seem that good against the SolC club so far. But of course, there could be something that they're pondering that we'll see some curveball picks coming out after the banning stage. We'll see.
I mean, it's no doubt. Swiftblade, again, one of the bigger advantages of the hero is that he has an inherent shrunken head with the spin ability. And so the idea that picking him up and going against somewhat more of a magic crowd control or magic damage heavy team could be a very valuable option for him. But yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mentioned the Prisoner, but you're right. Even the Warbeast on top of that. Already plenty of physical presence coming out here from Solera Club. So again, going to be interesting to see how that works out for Team Who. Also where they run it. I mean, obviously, either it's going to be Suicide or short lane carry most likely. Those are pretty much the two options at this point. So would you see it one way or the other? Do you think they should run it one way or the other here?
Well, we're probably going to be expecting to see a Swiftblade Suicide because it's a Ravenor. So Ravenor is normally going upon the short lane because he really needs to pick up that farm, pick up that Abyssal or the PK. It's just so important for him, especially the Thunderclaw. So farm is way more important for Ravenor than it is for Swiftblade. Swiftblade has his abilities to catch up on. He has the spin, and he also has the ultimate, which isn't really item reliant. You can always roam on Swiftblade. I don't know. I think the way that we'll see Who laning is pretty obvious, but obviously they could try to curveball a little bit. I don't think we'll see that, but I think the laning stage from Team Who is pretty obvious.
Yeah.
Warbeast, if you go for Suicide against him, he should do fine against against Ravenor plus a support. But on the other hand, I think Warbeast is actually a really good option to put at the bottom lane because he can easily solo against Swiftblade, but that's not something we see too often.
No.
Look at the bans, by the way. We see the Pyromancer, the Puppet Master, Bubbles, the Soul Stealer, the Kinesis, and the Silhouette. So it seems like Team Who is deciding to ban some of those real hard carries for the short lane. And then we see Team SolC. They want to get rid of all the Suicide heroes. Well, Kinesis at least, and the Bubbles, or the solo mid ones. There's the Chipper.
Yeah, I'm kind of intrigued also by them leaving open. You mentioned a lot of these harder carry bands, but they left over the hero like Cthulhu Fawn, who tends to be, pretty good against an Ophelia. And something tells me maybe they were almost thinking that Warbeast was going to be perhaps a jungle, and so weren't necessarily needing to be the most worried of that. But hey, they left it open. Solera Club takes it, and of course that means that obviously Warbeast is going to be the lane, and then Dr. Repulsor on top of it all is how they're going to finish here. So, how do you think of the full 5-man lineup now for Solera Club?
I'm completely in love with the Legion lineup right here. I feel like it has everything going for it. Like, it has split pushing, it has ganking potential with the Dr. Repulsor. Warbeast can obviously push a lot. The Warbeast W, the Battlecry, makes it so easy for the Legion team to lane. And, like, the Cthulhu Fan Suicide should do very well here. Actually, I might think it's going to be a Cthulhu Fan jungle and Warbeast Suicide. Think of it. I think that's going to be it.
It tends to be,
but it's still going to work out.
Mm-hmm. And,
anyway.
the great thing about the Cthulhu Vaughn, too, is, like I said, not only is he pretty good against an Ophelia, but honestly, I don't know. Well, Solera Club, I was thinking maybe the idea if they could go aggressive here to try to match up against this Hellborn team, but the more I'm looking at it with their lanes, probably wouldn't make the most sense. I mean, it may not be too strong to do that. But I mean, could you see Cthulhu Vaughn going aggressive again just to try to deal with that Ophelia early on, or possibly even a pseudo-trialing here?
It would kind of make sense for him to do it, but the thing is, if it doesn't work out, then he loses a lot.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's not something you do without, because like when you go Suicide Jungle, then you obviously, well, not obviously, but you often go for something like a pair of boots to just like be a little bit more active in the jungle and not be caught off in a bad spot, because losing first blood is very, very crucial. What he could do though is that he would go for the far left camp, the far left heart camp, to kind of ruin it for the Ophelia. Just take that and then wait for the cooldown to run off and then run off to his own jungle. I mean, it is a possibility, but I think he'll stick to going his own jungle here.
Okay.
I think Cthulhu Fan is thinking that his purpose in this game will be to pick up something like a Vader Rod, a Bottles, a pair of boots, and then just try to gank the middle lane. No, look at that, actually. Looks like Swiftblade is going to be standing towards the middle right now. Oh, he has boots, he has wards, so he's going to try to sneak in something, maybe try to pull a lane. By the way, a very cool new avatar.
Yeah, no, I was actually just looking at that myself. It's always fun to like see a new avatar all of a sudden. It's like, wait a second, that's cool. Checking it out there. So yeah, going to be running that Shortcon, the one playing. Of course, yeah, he tends to be their suicide player in general. So going to be headed down here and actually going to run right past Ward of Sight, though. You see the very interesting Ward of Sight placement from Solera Club. Checking out the Kongor pit and getting some good information there. Sure can. My bad. Maybe you shouldn't make such a confusing name. How about that? This Ward of Sight, though, why do you think they placed the Ward of Sight where it is here?
When you say here,
Kongor
you
pit,
mean the middle place ward? Right, Kongor pit ward. Well, that's the only ward placed so far, actually. Well, I can tell you why the engineer placed it there. It's to counter the Cthulhu Fan. And I can't really tell you why the Forgotten One decided to place it there. Obviously, it deals a little bit with Swiftblade running around and roaming, but Swiftblade could also run from a different angle, and in that case, then the ward wouldn't make sense, because the Swiftblade could obviously just run from the middle of the jungle. I was actually blocking one of Cthulhu Fan's camps. They decided to switch things up, though. It's going to be a Shiver solo top versus the Warbeast. Warbeast managed to pull the lane, so he's going to have a little bit of free farm here. Chipper's going to have a little bit of a hard time getting these last hits at top lane. But usually when you know how to last it, then you got it covered. Unfortunately, Jim Carrey didn't actually manage to get all those 4 last hits.
Yeah.
He actually missed 2 last hits there. Warbeast should have no problems getting these ones, though. So the Suicide lane is currently winning for the Legion team.
Yeah.
So
Well, we see the good start there with the pull. Now how that fares throughout the earlier on in the laning stage here, we'll keep an eye on. But yeah, no doubt it tends to be difficult, especially when it's all the way at your tower, especially level 1 at that time at least. Understandable that he missed several last hits there. But now the creep wave is going to start being pushed back, and this should be a little bit better for Chipper now, to say the least. Middle lane, though, I mean, there's potential. The hook coming in on a Ravener. He's going to try to pull it, and he missed Torch right there. Cthulhu, a big hex stun, though, on all 3 heroes. As Cthulhu Fun did end up joining the party, but obviously too late by that time. So Going for some early action here in the end. No kill as a result, though. But again, this middle lane, no doubt, going to be the source of action. Not only 2 versus 2, but both teams having the jungle. Speaking of that, Torture will go down as the combo of Ravener and Engineer come together. So both teams have their strength in the lane, but clearly just a little bit better for Team Who, at least for the time being here, FJ.
Yeah, and, well, you can see how Solaire Club has the advantage at bottom lane and at top lane, though. But in the middle lane, now the advantage is obviously going to pay out in Team Who's favor. Sullivan unfortunately missed his stun right there, and that kind of meant that they could not manage to secure that kill. And you can actually see at bottom lane how it really pays off, or it doesn't really pay off for Swiftblade to pick up Boots now, because now he's in a 1v1 situation where Boots does not have any impact at all.
Yeah.
So now he wish he went for the buckler instead, because he is being harassed a lot by Cannondor.
Yeah.
He's pretty much out of reach now.
As he should be. I mean, you see the boots on Dr. Pulsar as well, so allowing him to kind of get in there, poke in some good damage. And yeah, he's down to 1 Tree Eater here. So Swiftblade definitely finding himself in a little precarious spot. 7-0 creep far, but Dr. 14-3. So no doubt having the much better time. Back to the top lane. Let's take a closer look at that once again as it's developed now. Yeah, 12-1 Warby's, 10-3 Chipper. So obviously Chipper's done a little bit better here, but at the same time, Warby is still managing pretty good, and I always seen something to keep in mind with the Suicide Warbies, especially that battle cry. Going to be constantly activated, so you'll see the glowing red hands here on the Legion side definitely happening. And perhaps, again, perhaps to set up a kill. Again, ideally in the middle lane, as Ophelia's coming in with a Minotaur. I want to try, but
Yeah. This middle lane certainly looks tense right now, and now I believe that Team Solaire Club would have wished they placed the ward differently. Because the bottom lane, the bottom river ward doesn't really... Oh, actually, look at that middle lane. Initiate upon Prisoner, and with you feeding Minotaur, it shouldn't be a problem to pick up that kill.
Minotaur even missing the stun. It didn't even matter right there.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
All right.
It's too much damage anyway.
Have you noticed that the engineer keg is really difficult to see, or is that just
this
very
skin?
sneaky?
I do agree. It is a little less obvious in terms of where it is compared to like the default and whatnot. So, not only is it a cool skin, but perhaps a little bit of an advantage there, you can say. Picking it here with the engineer. So, and actually, engineer's going to the top lane.
Going towards top lane.
Yeah, Warby's might be in some trouble right here. He doesn't have ulti for him just yet. There is the keg stun. It is going to be missed, though, so he was able to see that one pretty easily. And he makes the escape. So, Engineer, good job roaming, but in the end, unsuccessful with the kill. Now they know that he's missing. I was going to say, try to maybe go on a Ravener, but the hook misses there, so no chance to go for a kill.
That is a very scary name. Army of Moms. Can you imagine that?
It sounds... That would be a pretty interesting scene there. And the potential to be pretty scary, no doubt. Oh, no, I thought, God, man, that seemed like a perfect hook chance, but not comfortable with it, I guess.
Well, right now it is the perfect time to go on Ravenor. There it is, actually. They go ahead and try to initiate, and missing the ball, luckily, and Ravenor should potentially die right here, and yes, you will. Torture, on the other hand, is dropping low, and beautiful body block by Engineer. Should be enough for the kill. Yes, it will. Very well done by Engineer there. Beautiful body block. But will the hook hit? No. That's great plays from Hugo Big.
Yeah, able to sidestep right there, so stays alive, but it will be the 1-for-1 exchange, though, of course. Again, they got Ravener first, so I think it's safe to say still Solaire Club fairly happy with that exchange, even with the way it ended. But, yeah, again, they knew that Engineer was missing, so taking advantage of that aspect right there. Swiftblade, in the meantime, he's coming to the middle lane. Now, he doesn't have ultimate just yet. Kind of wonder if it's going to be close, but Ravener will jump in right here on a Prisoner. Ball lightning lands. He is able to dodge that keg stun, but here comes a spinning Swiftblade. It should be enough damage to secure the kill, but at what cost here? Down goes Swift. Yeah, diving a little too much for comfort right there, and ends up getting counter-killed in the end. So, again, a little bit of too much of a dive perhaps, but hey, he's a suicide Swiftblade, and at least is able to get the kill before he dies in the locker.
That was worth it, but not by long. Like, not by a lot. It was worth it, but look at that. Look at top lane, by the way. Looks like Warbeast might be in for something here.
Oh my gosh. Some free food.
Kill.
Yeah.
Or,
there's the lockdown. No, look at the turn! He gets the kill, but he's not able to get away. At least Ophelia again. The case of doing enough to get the counter kill. Meanwhile, middle lane. Engineer's going to end up falling right there. You see Swiftblade. Again, no level 6 though will spin right on top of them, but it's just for herself right now. Router does join the party, but got there a little too late once again. So, actually had several different lanes here. And we do see now 5-4 hero kill lead in favor of Team Who. But yeah, good find by Warbeast, but definitely better reaction, especially on the part of Chipper getting over there. Being able to get the counter kill.
It's a good little trick by Ophelia there. I don't know if he actually had predicted that he would be able to lock him down enough for Chipper and him to get the kill. But in any event, that was definitely worth it for the Ophelia. Chipper getting a kill right there, putting him up a little bit of levels. Like, he's gonna have an easy time facing the Warbeast now, and Warbeast, I dare say, he could not even go suicide lane anymore. So he's forced to. He's actually gonna be going towards the Ancients right now.
Yeah.
So Chipper's obviously gonna have a very easy time there, and at the bottom lane, Dr. Repulsor managed to pick up Shotgun.
Yeah, I caught that pretty much the whole way. I mean, he spun, but it was too much to handle. The constant ludicrous speed, and he had the bottle for the regen, was able to keep chasing him down and eventually just do enough damage to finish him off. Again, no level 6 either on Swiftblade just yet, so really did not have any chance of escaping right there, unless maybe a TP came in, but it never did. So a good chase down coming out from Ganondorf right there. Meanwhile, middle lane, Hook does land, Prison Break comes out, it's going to pull back in Ravener, and it will set up a line stun from Cthulhu as well as Torturer able to assist in there. So that Prison Break, you want to try to get out of range. It's not easy though. And he was not able to do so right there, of course. Meanwhile, Engineer's roaming around. He's going to run into Torturer. The Kegstone will push him forward, but Dr. Repulsor pulls him right back in. I don't know if he's going to have enough. Oh, he should, though. He has barely enough mana pull now, and the electric turret, and they funnel a couple of auto attacks to chase him down. You see Swiftblade is level 6 now, chasing in, maybe to get some lucky bounces here, but sure can. Has to be careful, as he will end up falling back to the lane instead. So more kills happening for the side of Solaire Club, and it seems like their activity is paying off right here. Dr. Repulsor nearly 400 gold per minute right now. By the way, Doctor going a Blood Chalice. That is not a typical pickup for a Doctor.
No. And speaking of atypical, have you seen that Torture is actually skilled ultimate here? I mean, maybe I'm wrong, but I don't see a lot of support Torture skilling ultimate at level 6.
No, that's true.
You see that a lot?
No, we don't. I mean, they usually just max out Q and W, I'm pretty sure, before getting the ultimate. And I guess the obvious downside there is that he doesn't have the most intelligence, the most mana pool early on in the game, and that drains quite a bit. So now it did help him get the kill on the Engineer eventually, I will say that, in the Congo area. So perhaps, I wonder if he kind of leveled it up in that situation, thinking it would have helped him maybe get the kill. Could have been that, possibly. But he has it, so gonna have to live with it for now. But going back to Dr. Repulsor, though, the Blood Chalice, and also, what do you think he's actually going to be going here?
It's a good question, though. I mean, he could always just split it and go towards a sacrificial stone, or go for the Ring of Sorcery, because like you can split the Chalice and it still has some very good components that you can use later on. You obviously cannot use the Crushing Claw, but you can use pretty much anything else in that Chalice. I mean, you can turn it into a Hellfire, you can turn it into a Ring of Sorcery, pretty much do anything with that item.
Okay.
It's actually, I want to say it's a little bit underrated on Dr. Repulsor, because it's a decent item. Good build up, actually. Yeah, I mean, I like it, to be honest. It's something that I haven't really considered much, but it's just not a lot of mana that it actually provides for a guy who has a total of 900.
Yeah. Oh, middle lane, they got the tower kill. Torture, though, he gets caught by Ravener, chasing him down, but realizing backup's coming. He's going to try to run away. That Impalement Man doing so much damage. And eventually Cthulhu fought with the trap to finish him off. Nice hook on Engineer as well. The good keg stun, though, to stop it, but now Swiftblade joining the party, and that'll be enough to scare off Prisoner. But, yeah, good find, good response on Ravener. Meanwhile, on the top lane, the chainsaw's too much to handle. Ophelia coming in there to lock down Warbeast, while Chipper did most of the damage, of course. And Chipper, by the way, he already has a portal key. So Jim Carrey, you going very aggressive with the early portal key on top of the Steam Boots. Let's talk about that here. What do you make of that pickup here, FJ?
Oh, he needs to. He needs to start being very active in these team fights. There's no way he can just sit at top and enjoy his time and farm on that Staff the Master, that icon, or something similar, or Grimoire Power Spell Shot, whatever. He needs to start being active, because his team is losing, and his team is losing fast. Usually what you see once Dr. Repulsor start getting some items, is that you'll see tremendous amounts of gank coming out, and long distance ganks coming out as well. So you need to sort of be able to fight S5 often. And I want to say that, like, Team Who really needs to be careful of that Dr. Repulsor now, because he is the max level in this game. With that Chipper,
yeah,
he's starting to pick up some real farm. He's sitting at 424. He's the max farmer. And I mean, Dr. Repulsor, no matter how you twist and turn it, he is a better carry than Chipper. So Chipper needs to start being active here.
Yeah.
And it has to happen soon.
Oh.
Legion side, the Hellborn Times, sorry, has an Ophelia. Ophelia is not a hero that wants to go late game. And neither is Chipper for that matter. Dr. Repulsor, War Beast, that's easily late game heroes. And it doesn't look like Swiftblade is getting any farm anytime soon.
I always find it interesting with an Ophelia. Speaking of that, it's actually Engineer. A nice stun on him initially. Energy Field comes out, though, with a Rocket Barrage going to completely whiff. Might not matter. Yeah, Torture will get picked off, so good find there, competing for that top rune. Looks like double damage. Ion Stone, by the way, on Engineer, but yeah, Ophelia not necessarily being the stronger of the junglers, especially as far as scaling into the late game. I mean, I get that, but at the same time, I also think Ophelia players that get to the late game, they underestimate the potential of a couple of creeps. As hold that thought, though, Swiftblade, too much action on him. Cthulhu Font was hiding in the trees. As big as he is, he somehow was able to do that and gets the assistance right there with Cannondorf and Dr. Pulsar to get the kill. But yeah, I'm telling you, man, minions like Ice Ogre, minions like Wolf Commander, so powerful. And of course the Snotter Boss, all about that move speed. Powerful in the late game, man. But we constantly see the Skeleton King and Minotaurs, even into the late game. I mean, I get that. If you're going up against like a Tempest, that makes sense, of course. But I don't know. Do you feel the same that maybe a couple of these creeps are a little bit underrated with an Ophelia?
Well, yeah, if you have heroes that is really good for those minions. For instance, if you're sitting with the Moon Queen or something similar, and you have minions that provides aura in the background. But when you're facing something like Dr. Repulsor, then you need all the lockdown that you can actually get. And if you look at the Hellborn side, they actually do not have a lot of lockdown. They do rely on Ophelia to have those stunning creeps. Like you do not see a lot of stuns on the Hellborn side. You actually do not see a single reliable stun. None of them are target stuns. None of them, all of them are kind of skill shots. You have the ball, you have the Chipper rockets, you have the Engineer Keck. You could argue that the ultimate from Swiftblade is a hard stun, but it's only a mini stun.
Yeah, no, you're not relying on that to lock people down. Maybe stop a TP, but Swiftblade, speaking of that, Swift Slashes on a solo Torture. That's the last thing you want to see if you're a support Torture right there. Finding Swiftblade by himself. That's exactly what happened, though, and Swiftblade presses R and gets the easy kill as a result. So you did see Forgotten. He placed a ward of sight in the lane. That's why he was there in the first place. But obviously it does cost him his life. So Dr. Repulsor is trying to finish up that Icon of the Goddess here. Again, a little bit different with the Blood Shells, but as you were talking about, you kind of like it, and it's unique as it is. But the Icon is coming, and a Portal Key now on Cthulhu Font actually just finished. And he's going to use that to have that initiating presence, of course. Meanwhile, Hellborn team roaming pretty heavy in the Legion jungle here. You see Ophelia leading the way, but not going to be able to find anybody when it's all said and done. Prisoner's interesting. I assume we should expect to see a portal key here, but what would you like to see maybe following that? I'm honestly a huge fan of something like in the Sanitarius. I really think this hero could dish out some great damage, especially with his new passive. What about you?
Yeah, Insanitarius is definitely a great item. There's pretty much not a strength hero that Insanitarius cannot work on, but with that passive, with the battle cry, I mean, it just adds up. There's just so much damage in that. I really like that item choice, and also the constant I'm gonna get a lot of HP all of a sudden is so annoying to face because you never know when it's gonna happen. Well, you do, but you always tend to at least I do. I always tend to sort of forget about it and kind of always get a little bit surprised about it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. I mean, yeah, it's not one of those heroes that off the cusp you think oh, we got to worry about his damage output, but most certainly. Again, especially with the new passive. Before it was all right, but now the fact he jumps in, he combos everything, and then he's doing 30% more base damage plus each cooldown, so up to 90% more base damage after he combos when he initially goes in. So that's nothing to scoff at, as I say.
Yeah. There's yesterday finished now on Ophelia, so. I mean, and all of the wards kind of indicates that Team Who wants to start fighting, but look how good the Forgotten one is at counter-warding. There's 2 wards placed so far on the Hellborn side. One in which almost gets revealed, by the way, by Forgotten Ward's ward. Here at jungle.
Nice sidestep right there. What are we talking about? Oh yeah, I see this one. Yeah, it's just out of range.
Yeah,
But
we talk about wards
one.
here, and it feels like the Legion side definitely has the advantage here. Whereas the Legion side has defensive wards placed, the Hellborn side has aggressive wards placed, or offensive, as you might say, because they definitely want to try to make fighting happen. And Ravenor is now level 11, almost has his PK. If that's what he decides to go for, I'd say probably should be.
Yeah.
But he could also decide to go for a Thunderclaw and try to like play a little bit high risk, high reward. It helps you with farming, obviously, but it's a little bit more. It's a risky item to go for because if your opponent decides to start team fighting and you do not have a PK, then things spells trouble.
Yeah.
Alright, and Shiba actually initiated upon Torture right here, and down he goes.
That's fine.
Now the push is on.
FJ, I gotta ask you like this. If you were this Hellborn team, hell, if you were playing Ravener here, what would you go? I understand the idea of both, but what do you think makes sense here to actually go on Ravener?
I would go PK, but you're putting me in a rough spot here because now if he goes Thunderclaw, then I'll look like an idiot.
No, it's not at all. I mean, they're both valuable options. They have their benefits, but again, I'm just curious what you as a player would do. So
we will get and talk about reliable stunts before, and how do you really catch Dr. Repulsor as a Hellborn team here? The only option you have is either to ignore him until he's drained of mana and there's like no team fight left except the Doctor, or you try to jump him somehow with the Ravenor PK jump, which could be an option, and follow that up with an Engineer ultimate and Keck. Well, there it is. That's kill on the Ravenor. On the Dr. Repulsor, sorry.
Yeah.
So I'd say you should get a PK. It also helps you farm because you obviously has a lot more mobility and you pretty much never run out of stacks because there's never a situation where you cannot PK to some creep somewhere, which you sometimes have with the Thunderclaw without a PK. I'd say you should get a PK, definitely, but you can follow it up with Thunderclaw afterwards.
Yeah, no, I mean, that definitely makes sense. And, you know, Ravener is an interesting hero when it comes to that because he definitely has the capabilities to be at least a mid-game carry. I mean, some would even argue the late-game carry because of how he kind of works, but at the same time, he's really strong also with that portal key as an initiator. And I think you hit it on the nail, too, knowing that they need ways to stop that Dr. Repulsor, and he perhaps is that answer with getting the portal key. Where if he doesn't, then yeah, it won't be nearly as easy to try to make that happen. So, but at the same time, on top of that, I mean, if he goes the portal key, you know, then going a Thunderclaw just doesn't seem like it would make sense. So it's almost like he's committing to being more of an initiator and killer in that sense rather than the carry of the team. And if that's the case, I mean, this Hellborn team wouldn't necessarily have any carry coming out, other than the Swiftblade, sure, but even he, by the way, is actually top lane. Warbeast gets picked off, double damage Ravener. Bottom lane now, though, we see the energy flow going out. Swift Slash gets off just in time. Will he survive? Yes, he will. No, he will not. Never mind. Obliterate takes him down. But down goes Cthulhu Fawn on top of that. So a couple of kills, different places. Overall picture, though, 2-for-1 exchange in favor of Team Who. But as I was getting out with Swiftblade, he actually has a B-start here, and we've been seeing this Elder Parasite build lately, specifically, who does it? Freaking those guys. Pee-wee, Team Disband, that's right. Queefix does it,
right.
Pee-wee's even done it, so it looks like he may be going that option. What would be your take on that?
Oh, well, Fury is the kind of guy who goes sheepstick on Scout, and you gotta love him for it because he makes it work. But I like it, to be honest. It gives you a lot of HP, and I've done a lot on my previous Swiftblade as well. I even have it recommended in an FJ Swiftblade guide, I believe.
Dang.
It's a very powerful item. I really love it.
Shameless plug.
Yeah, indeed. I like it. It's very good, and it actually also works if you build it early game because it's sort of like an Energizer. You get a lot of movement speed out of it as well, and you also gain a lot of HP.
Yeah.
So it's a little bit of a different kind of Energizer. It doesn't really support the team much, but it's very, very powerful. I think that's all there is to say about it. It gives you HP, that's it. It gives you HP, it gives you life leech when you need it.
Yeah.
It can obviously be used to tank Conqueror on occasion. And it works really well late game because it does so much damage. And speaking of Swiftblade, now it gets initiated upon.
Yeah, this is what we're talking about with
Prisoner.
Prisoner.
Help him.
He's going to be able to stay alive, though, and they turn it onto him. You see he pops the Elder Parasite. And, of course, having the help there, clearly enough to turn that around. And Torture, though, he's still hanging around with that set. Dr. Warbeast nearby. They know a fight could possibly be taking place. Chipper finds that Torture, though, and Ravener eventually gets in there for the kill on top of that. So a couple of kills later, and Team Who is now going to be pushing the tower, and I don't think Solare Club's going to have any chance of stopping it. As you see, they're full-on retreating right here. So this very aggressive earlier on play, the portal key picked up by Ravener, so that answers that question as well. Another 2,000 gold already saved up, though, with that said. But, yeah, the way this Hellborn team is building, though, I mean, this is very evident that they are all about finishing this game here sooner than later. They do not want this necessarily to go to the late game with their builds. And, you know, I think you could argue that that definitely makes sense, especially for how active this game is. Would you agree?
Yeah, definitely. And you can, like we were talking about in the early game, that the Legion side kind of favors the mid-late game, whereas the Hellborn side is really, really powerful in the mid game. If you can shut down Ravener in a team fight, you got it. But if not, then it's going to be difficult. They have the chance to jump Ravener right here, but Chipper is ready to help out, and now he's actually jumping the Torch Show. Misses all of his rockets, and there's the jump on the Chipper. Ball of lightning comes in from Ravener, but that's a really bad ball of lightning. And actually ends up getting him killed.
Yeah.
So a little bit of mistakes coming out here from Team Who. A wrong initiate by Chipper, followed up by a wrong attempt to help out by Ravener. And it's actually going to cost them a tower, possibly even more.
Yeah.
And Icon of the God charges. Icon of the Goddess is pumping up for Dr. Repulsion now on 4 charges.
Well, I mean, that's the thing.
30 seconds left.
Solare Club played that pretty well, too. You know, definitely some bait coming out right there. Again, Team Who, they thought they had at least a free kill, maybe a couple, but clearly there was more there, and they were not expecting it. So that's definitely a downside of going for more of this aggressive strategy. If you do a throw like that, if you kind of, you know, throw yourselves in there thinking you have a kill and all of a sudden you get counter-killed, that's going to have that much more of an impact in this game. Cthulhu Font, oh my god, the final auto tech will eventually get him down. They're chasing, though, but a little too much as Engineer does end up going down. Swiftblade, he wants something, though. He still has Swift Slashes. He's going to pop them right here. A lot of creep damage, though. Minimal hero damage. As a result of those bounces, Prison Break back in, and here we go once again. Torture door to the party. Dr. Impulse is being locked down somewhat, but no, he's going to be finding flies back in. And Solare Club just absolutely annihilating Team Who right there in that fight. Yeah, this is not a team you want to necessarily be going toe-to-toe with in a big team fight. Prisoner especially leading the way. And Solare Club, they all of a sudden have their biggest lead of the game. And again, it goes back to not the best situation for Team Who. It's just going to continue. Ravener gets picked off as they are going to fall back, but they get several buybacks used, including on their Ravener, who just died. So clearly a huge force of momentum there from Solare Club coming out. And now things are scary for Team Who here.
That was really beautifully played by SolC. They completely obliterated the Hellborn side here, but they also picked up on every single mistake that Team Who actually made there by initiating improperly and then try to overcommitting into chasing a little bit too long before Ravener actually respawned, which was, in my mind, also a mistake by Team Who. They should at least, before actually chasing, they should either force the Ravener to buy back. I know it's 10 seconds before that he actually would have respawned, but if they wanted to chase, they needed Ravener to be there as well. But they did commit to the chase, and before Ravener respawned, and that ended up costing them dearly and forcing them to buy back on 3 heroes now, and even Ravener as well. And Slaskadured, which is Danish, by the way, it's actually a very weird Danish. It's not even a Danish word, it's just like a Danish phrase, I guess you could call it. It's like what do you call it? Like this squishy animal.
Okay.
Splashy animal.
See, when you try to translate, it's just like it takes away of it. I just like I just call him sloth.
You know, if you would describe a tongue, you would call it Slasket, which is pretty much what he is. So he's like the tongue animal.
Interesting.
It's a very weird name.
Maybe like an anteater. They have long tongues. I don't know. Ravener, he's gonna get found and eventually killed off. So, yeah, I mean, clearly Solare Club has found their groove right here, and I keep just going back to Team Who, especially with committing to that portal key and the Elder Paris on a Swiftblade, things like that. It was a statement of we want to try to get really ahead now. and it's just done nothing but backfire. Not to say that those were the wrong choices, but now they're even further behind, say as if maybe a Thunderclaw option was on Ravener instead, you know, going for more of the farm focus. And it's going to continue. The Melee Rax goes down, Chipper's down right away, and he gets bursted down pretty quickly right there. They do get the counter kill on Cthulhu though. Warbeast running away with that Shrunken Head in ulti form. Swiftblade chasing him down. They want to maybe try to catch up, but, you know, a hasted Warbeast in that ulti form, pretty difficult to do. The rocket will hit right there, actually, and Warbeast is going to be caught, so they at least will, maybe? They should get this, yeah. They are going to pick him off when it's all said and done, so at least a little bit of a present there for Team Who in the long run, but big picture, again, Solar Club still feeling pretty good about where they're at, I'm sure. Doctor even has a Hellflower now as well, by the way, on top of the icon. Also, 18 charges on that icon of the goddess. So, I don't know. What do you think about Team Who and where they're at right now? Like, is there a clear picture of what you think they need to be doing here? Or?
There is a clear picture which says you need to start like constantly fighting. Like, they cannot take a break. They cannot wait for Saskatoon to get items. Because imagine the picture when Dr. Boss actually gets the Shrunken Head. And he'll jump into a team fight completely ignoring everything else but Ravenor. Just jump in, Hellfire the Ravenor, and that'll be it. Like, you'll focus fire the Ravenor, and then afterwards that, you'll still have your Shrunken Head active, and you can do whatever. And there it is, actually initiates upon the Ravenor. Not even caring about not having a Shrunken Head right now.
He might want to.
Actually.
Yeah, that was silly. I mean, not having a Shrunken Head, pretty key right there. Now they are going to get the counter on Ravenor. Maybe, no, it's in the left. No, he will go down the prison break, I believe, finishing him off. But Prisoner's even going to fall. So not the fight that Solar Club was looking for. And Cthulhu, he's able to trample through, maybe try to escape. That's not going to happen, though. The jump in the first place from Cannondorf was clearly over the top. As you pointed out, I mean, when he gets the Shrunken Head, it's going to be ridiculous, but he didn't have it there. What was he thinking? Going so reckless.
And more importantly was that he didn't have the Warbeast with the Shrunken Head besides him. That's what I was trying to get at. When Dr. Pulsar can jump in and Hellfire and hold the Ravenor, then him and Warbeast should be able to pretty much steal with the Ravenor, regardless of the fact that he might have 2k HP by that time. It's just Ravenor is just he's not as tanky as he wants to be at the moment, and seeing as there's no Tempest, Keeper of the Forest, anything like huge teamfight saving or Moria for that matter, who can save the Ravenor from that initiate, then you're in deep trouble when you're playing Ravenor here.
Yeah,
and that's why so many teams pick up Tempest, because that it forces your opponents to figure out another strategy than that. But having the Warbeast, having the Dr. Pulsar clearly means that you can pick up Ravenor pretty much at any given time of the game, as long as you're together.
Yeah. See right there.
There it is again.
He does go back in, but this time it's going to work out much better. Ravenor gets caught, as does Ophelia. And so a quick 2 kills, and now they're going to push in the top tower. So, yeah, that time he had the team back up pretty much right away, unlike before, as you also mentioned the Warbeast especially being there with his threat. So the top tower now going to be pushed in pretty aggressively. No chance of defending this, most likely. Actually, Ravenor, I didn't even realize, but he used his second buyback a little bit earlier. So he is now out of buybacks completely. I mean, he's still sitting on the same items, but that makes sense because he's spent so much gold already on the 2 buybacks that the progression of the game right now, not looking the best for Team Who, even despite the fight that they just had previously here. So they're going to try to hold at the base, but that's a difficult task to say the least. The melee racks are already being gone. You see the chainsaws come out. 7 the master chainsaws, by the way, but Doctor jumps in the background on Engineer. Engineer going to be killed off pretty quickly, but the Swift Slashes, it does do enough damage to take out Prisoner there, but the energy field and not too much of a scare, and they're going to go right back to the melee rack. So damage clearly being done once again. They want to get the racks. They will. Cthulhu a little bit of distractor right there, but now he's going to be left behind to eventually be killed off. So minimal casualties, though, considering what they got out of it. Yet another melee racks, only at 29 minutes into the game. I think Team Who's on the brink of, might have to throw in the concede vote here shortly.
Yeah, they're praying for miracles right now. There is still chances, but they are very slim. And they rely a lot on SolC making mistakes here. Because no matter how if Team Who were to win this, you would always be able to trace it back to, well, it was because SolC made this and that mistakes continuously. And I do not believe they are a team that would be doing that a lot this game. I believe they feel like this is in the bag, they just need to close it out. They do not need to do anything irrational here. They just need to play it safe, close it out, use the fact that they have barracks cleared in the middle lane and top lane, and just like sort of wait out the game.
Yeah.
Find an opening, get the Ravenar once again, and the game is over. They know the Ravenar has no more buybacks, and Ravenar is only having one thing in mind, and that's the Shrunken Head, and even that won't help him in team fights.
You know,
because obviously that's a Hellfire. So
yeah.
I'm sorry for being pessimistic here, Breaky.
No, I mean, I agree. Yeah, well, it's game 1 of a best out of 5. So, you know, in that case, it's like, okay, let's be honest, this game's probably pretty over here for Team Who. I mean, I understand why they're not conceding just yet. I mean, the lead's nothing too significant, to be fair. 6,500 goal lead. It's not like, oh, yeah, might as well concede kind of lead. But in the big picture with the racks, especially, and everything, how it's been going, it does feel like they're in a tough spot. But they are going to hang in there at least maybe one more fight and see how it goes. But I wanted to talk about Ravenar real quickly, and I know you were solid. So many people have, and we have seen the potential of a Ravenar, but at the same time, there's a reason why his win percentage is something like 31%. I think it was 32% as far as that's concerned. This hero just, I don't know. I don't know what it is, to be frank. It's just, it feels like so many people think this hero's really good and has potential to be, and again, I get it, but it seems like it fails a lot more than it works. It's ultimately where I'm getting at here, and this is kind of just another one of those examples in the end. And I don't necessarily think it was his fault. It's just this game is just not going their way. I mean, you know, a couple of fights that happened that went the other way, and before you knew it, things started to snowball for Solaire Club. So I don't know. Do you think maybe Ravenar is a little overrated by a couple of teams? Carry around
well, I feel like you need to draft you need to draft around him. And seeing as we were talking about, there was no Tempest or no like hard lockdown for the Hellbourne team to save him, if anything. It kind of eliminates the purpose of the Ravenar because he can be locked down very easily by the team of the SolC. We were talking about it back in the drafting phase, the Dr. Repulsor, the Prisoner. It's very easy to lock him down, to be honest. Don't you think?
Yeah. Yeah. The Dr. Repulsor you're talking about, right? Or no, you're talking about Ravenar.
And Hellfire.
Yeah.
I'm talking about how easy it is to lock down Ravenar.
Yeah.
By Dr. Repulsor and Prisoner.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, this is a Legion team that's built around, you know, definitely being able to control a certain hero. That, no doubt, has made it difficult too, so. Yeah, again, a little bit of the hindsight kicking in as well of the choices to go the Elder Parasite on Swiftblade, the portal key first onto Ravenar. Again, not saying those are wrong choices, but it did make the statement once again that we need to try to win now rather than taking this later, and clearly that did not work out. Now, we do see some initiation right here on a Prisoner through the front, following it up though, the big trample energy field's down, but the Shrunken Head's up left and right. Swift Slash is bouncing around. Meanwhile, however, Ravenar gets picked off by Dr. Repulsor, and he's out for more blood. He gets another kill. That icon of the Goddess charge is kicking in right here, as well as the small buff that he gets. He gets another one. Double tap. The spin from Swiftblade is going to drop Orbeez, though. And the Legion side may be overcommitting a little too much here, as Doctor's going to try to make the getaway now. Hell, he may not even need to. He does have a token of life, so yeah, he can probably hold his ground here, honestly. He almost gets the kill on a Chipper. He's going to come right back up, though. And nope, okay, now he's going to go for Swiftblade. Now he goes for Chipper and eventually kills him off, and then he's going to go further. That's what I was going to say, with a token especially. He should feel pretty good about sticking around as he does. Gets a double tap once again. And now it's him versus Swiftblade all of a sudden, and Swiftblade has to fall back to the well. That's clearly too much damage coming out, so Dr. Repulsor once again showing his power. 26 icon charges now. His reset capability is pretty ridiculous in these fights. So, I mean, yeah, Team Who, again, they do still stay alive, but the buyback situation, the racks being dead, it's just not adding up right here to the possible comeback, unfortunately.
No, but I like a good game, and it's really nice to see that Team Who is definitely putting in the effort and making our evenings a little bit longer, Breaky. But I definitely like it, and I still believe there's a slight possibility. I do want to be optimistic here, even though it's hard. and we've seen most of the buybacks being used here by the Hellborn side. But we gotta be realistic here. SolC has used one buyback so far, and they are like the Hellborn side is now 10k behind in gold lead or in gold difference, and we want to also talk about the fact that that buybacks does not count into that. Like buybacks are not being counted into how much behind you actually are.
Yeah.
So we're talking minus 10k plus. I don't even know. I can't do the math right now. Let's do it anyway. Four buybacks plus 2, that's 6 buybacks with an average of 1.2k gold per buyback. That's 7,200 gold behind as well. So 7,200-ish behind.
On top of the 10,000, yeah. Yeah, it's...
and also losing the option.
Yeah. That's
but the Shrunken Head is done now, Ravenor.
Yeah, he has that at least, and again, that should help against... But like we're talking about, I mean, it helps against Doctor Lockdown, sure, but still Prisoner's not going to care too much about the Shrunken Head. Neither will Warbeast, for that matter. He's going to go right through it with the Brutalizer, now a Shield Breaker on top of that, in fact, of level 1 that he just got. So it's still a good item to have, but he just needed it 15 minutes ago, is what it really comes down to for Ravener here. But, I mean, Swiftblade, he has picked up his farm. His items are showing he's only used one of his 2 buybacks, so he's able to use the resources a little bit more into the actual items, of course. Got a Frostburn now on top of the other Parasite. And actually even another Mighty Blade picked up. I would think a Brutalizer going to be coming out for him. But Engineer in the meantime going to be caught by Doctor. And as soon as the Shrunken Head goes up, no chance for him. Now he got the energy field off at least. That'll help a little bit get through the fun. In fact, in the front lines, the Shrunken Head on Ravener. He is doing a little bit of work right here. He's trying to find the target to auto-attack, but Warbeast is still quite alive and dealing plenty himself in that ulti form. Chipper goes down. In fact, once again, everyone's dead but Ravener, and there's the vote to concede. Team Who realizing enough is enough, damn it. And they throw in the concede vote, and Game 1 will go in favor of Solaire Club. So congratulations to them, and take a 1-0 lead now in this best-of-5 series coming at you. But FJ, final thoughts on that first game there?
I don't know if you noticed, but when you look at the last chart there on the stats tab, you actually saw the Ravener was actually doing only 3rd place most damage on the Hellborn side. Oh. So he was definitely not making a lot of things work in team fights. It was just really hard being Saskatoon in that game because that was a tough game to be Ravener in. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I guess that's my final thoughts. I believe that both teams played well, but I will say that a lot of things came down to making mistakes and overcommitting a little bit, and maybe a little bit of communication as when you should commit and when you shouldn't. This is when